All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ari Temkin, live at Parkway Tavern and Grill over here between, I think I said yesterday the wrong spot. It's right off the tollway between Parker and, was it Windcrest, the street? Yeah, between Parker and Windhaven. So if you exit at Windhaven and then take a U-turn, it's right there on your right if you're coming from south to north. At any rate, I'm Ari Temkin from 105.3 The Fed. You can catch me on the Cowboys pre- and post-game show on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. You also see me streaming live every single day right here on Phantom, which is the new world order of sports media. And so I'm attempting to now add a third device of communication to this organization here. So bear with me as if people stream this every day, they know there's a lot of different channels I'm trying to broadcast across, platforms, etc. So I'm trying to answer as many questions as I possibly can. And in order to do that, I've decided to add another device to the mix to really complicate everything. But at any rate, thank you to all the folks watching across Phantom. We are the new world order of sports media. We are delivering live sports content and live sports to digital, wherever you are, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you are. Today we're live at Parkway Tavern and Grill, again in Plano, just off the Dallas North Tollway between Parker and Windhaven Parkway. So exit Windhaven Parkway and either go straight past the light if you're coming north to south. If you're coming south to north, though, on the tollway, exit Windhaven, make a U-turn, and it's right behind Whiskey Cake over there in that shopping center. All right, so let me see if I can try and maneuver all these different pages. Shout out to everybody watching across all the different pages. Dallas Cowboys America's team. Shout out to Phantom. What's up, everybody on Phantom? Jesse Garcia, Eric Shaney, John Delarco, Chris Bennett. John Delarco is very excited about the addition of Bryce Butler. That's what I'm asking you to answer today. That's the question I have for you. Give me the thumbs up if you like the addition of Bryce Butler. The Cowboys brought Bryce Butler back in for a workout today. They were kind of hush-hush about, whether or not he was going to sign. Jerry Jones was on 105 through the Fan this morning and wouldn't even make say a decision had been made. But Bryce Butler took to Twitter himself and basically said that he's back signing with the Cowboys. So breaking news, Bryce Butler tweets that he signed with the Cowboys. This just a few months after he criticized them. They brought him back. So the question is, thumbs up, do you like the move? Or give me the heart emoji telling me, no, I think maybe they should have brought in Josh Gordon. Maybe they should have brought back Dez. I put those two out there, but if there's somebody else. Is there another receiver? Corey Coleman. I know G. Garcia was hitting me up on Facebook Messenger asking me about Corey Coleman. There are other receivers available in the market, so give me the heart emoji if you think, hey, I would have rather one of the other receivers of the market, Dez, Gordon, or otherwise, or again, give me the thumbs up if you like the move of Bryce Butler. Sorry, took me a long time to get that out. All right. Let me check out the. Already, I'm having malfunctions with the third device. It's not necessarily the best device. I think this is like one of the original iPhones, if I'm not mistaken. At any rate, everybody hit the share button. I'll get to your comments and your thoughts here as soon as I possibly can. But trying to answer as many questions as possible on this Tuesday after the Cowboys defeat the New York Giants and improve to 1-1 of the year. I do want to get into a little bit on the Seahawks because they played last night, and I think there should be a lot of excitement for Cowboys fans about the game against Seattle this week. Let's see here on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page. Orlando Martinez says, "Bring back Bailey." Not Orlando. Orlando Martinez says, "Bring back Bailey." Well, Dan Bailey has signed already with the Minnesota Vikings, so that's not going to happen. Curtis Stark says, "What's up, Ari? What's up, Curtis? How are you?" Brian Walker says, "I would have liked to get Gordon." A lot of people, though, Harvey Gonzalez, Scott Daspit, they all give me the thumbs up. Now, I'm wondering, is that the thumbs up because you're happy about Bryce Butler, or you just give me the thumbs up? Because if it's just a thumbs up, then thumbs up to you as well. But, no, again, thumbs up if you like the move of Bryce Butler. Heart emoji if you thought, hey, they maybe should have brought in somebody else. Josh Gordon, Dez Bryant, Corey Coleman, somebody else that was available. Pete Ayala on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page says, as long as he gets open, catches the ball, helps the team is all I care. As long as you spread the ball around. And Hernando Herrera says, didn't he trash the Cowboys after he left? He did indeed. Hernando. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but yeah, he was not very nice to the Cowboys upon his exit. And quite frankly, I was arguing this week about, well, you can't bring back Dez because he's trashed the Cowboys. And he's trashed Jason Garrett. And yet, that's what Bryce Butler did, and he's back. So, I guess you can come home again, even if you've trashed the team that you're coming home again to. Let's see here. Trying to check in on the Law Nation. What I'm really trying to use this particular phone, this other particular device for, is for YouTube. But at this point, it's really slowing me down, and I've got some forward momentum, so I don't want to mess that up. Let's see here. But yeah, post your comments, hit the share button. Let's get this thing going. Ryan England says, what's up, Showtimers? So Ryan works sort of at a cross between calling the people that watch this show every day Showtimers and Ariolas. I'll tell you what, you can use whichever one you'd like, because Ariolas could, in fact, be a little weird. So I would completely understand people that would rather prefer to use the term Showtimers. But if you're new to the show, people that stream every day, Ryan England, Chris Bennett, John Dyer, Erica Shaney, John DeLarco, Ray Pierce, I'm missing Sean Moore, who's not here yet, but he's going to be late, but he'll be here. G. Garcia, Jesse Garcia. They're all either Ariolas or Showtimers, people that stream the show every day. So I appreciate you all, and hopefully the people that are checking the stream out for the first time, that you'll like what you see and you come back time and time again. All right, let's see here. We're not streaming live on YouTube. Looks like. It's weird. All right, I'll just put this away then. And move on. John Dyer says, no, I'm an OG Turtle Crew. Yeah, that goes way back. G. Garcia says, hashtag Ariolas. Ray Pierce says, just goes to show how clueless the coaches are in forming a roster. You're talking about the addition of Bryce Butler? Keith Stone. Keith, you're right, buddy. I forgot you. You are also a Showtimer or an Ariola, whichever you prefer. Shout out to Keith Stone, who, by the way, I've never checked your avatar out, but it looks pretty badass. Let's see here. Dakota Stiegel in the house says, bring back Dez and Butler. I know people don't like it, but Dez can cause Beasley to get open. Yeah. It's funny. They built this roster this offseason, and it's like you thought, at least I thought, well, they omit Dez, they omit Bryce Butler. They wanted to sort of, add different elements to the table. They thought would enhance their wide receiving core. I guess what I find to be sort of most interesting or intriguing about it is, it's like now they go back on it a little bit. Where now it's like, well, like what? I guess my question is, what's different about Bryce Butler now that they didn't know months and months ago when they were like, yeah, we're all set? Because Bryce Butler signed with Arizona. He was with them at training camp. I think he was cut before the season starts. So he's basically not on an active roster. So what? I know he's got some size. He's 6'3". He's got good speed. I mean, he's got the pieces to be a pretty good receiver, but he's just never been able to pull it together. And so I guess I'm sort of confused about why now? What happened? I don't know what happened through all of training camp in the preseason and now 2 weeks into the season where you're like, yeah, we really need to add him back because we don't have this. John Delarco says Butler's faster. Des getting older with injuries. Joseph Cazano says Butler wanted big money. That could be true. Maybe Bryce wanted a bigger contract. He knew that what he was going to get with the Cowboys, but the reality is he didn't really end up getting a bigger contract. He got signed by Arizona, and I think he was released before the season even started. Butler's faster is what John Delarco is saying. Chris Bennett bringing up the Seattle O-line, which is garbage, which is a very good point. I am going to preview Seattle in a moment here, but first I do want to add certain elements to this receiving discussion. Kerry Teagle says Dak seemed to have some chemistry with Butler. There's familiarity there. I see that. So that's certainly a reason why you'd bring him in and maybe not a Josh Gordon or a Corey Coleman, right? There's a familiarity there. By the way, I'm also eating wings here this afternoon. This will be fun. Attempting to eat wings with this microphone, and wings are pretty messy. I'm not going to mess with the ranch. The ranch is just I'm going to get it all over me. That buffalo sauce is really good here at Parkway Tavern and Grill. So, perhaps, the Cowboys don't bring back Butler because he wants too much money. Perhaps that's the reason. They liked him in every other way, but he wanted too much money. I guess here's my complaint about Butler. Butler's got all the pieces, but he just hasn't shown any consistency throughout the course of his career, especially with the Cowboys. And that's, remember, guys, there was a time when Dez Bryant went down and Cole Beasley was injured. If you guys recall, was this last year or 2 years ago? Where he had an opportunity to really, I think there were a lot of Cowboys fans, and even Bryce Butler, that was saying, hey, just give me an opportunity. And, once I get that opportunity, I'll seize it. And we haven't seen that. We didn't see it. He had the opportunity, again, when Dez and Beasley went down. I think it was 2 years ago. He didn't do anything that makes you believe he could be a number one receiver in the NFL. Tony Sellers wants to know when David Irving comes back. Ryan Patterson answered that, which is he's got a 4-game suspension. So he's eligible to rejoin the team after week 4. Billy Burke says offensive creativity allowed a better outcome Sunday night. That's the real deal. Yeah. Well, that and Billy, let's be honest, offensive line that held up pretty strong. I mean, they didn't hold up very well against Carolina the previous week, but they held up pretty strong last week, and it sort of opened up the creativity for the Cowboys. It's a lot easier to be creative when you've got an offensive line that's keeping the pocket clean. And we know that Dak Prescott's a different quarterback, like most are, when he's kept clean and there's not much pressure being applied. And I think they can be as creative as they want to be when they've got a clean pocket. Asking you, do you like the move, bringing back Bryce Butler? Give me the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the addition, bringing back Bryce Butler, or give me the heart emoji. Hit up the heart emoji if you're thinking, hey, I'd rather them have brought in Josh Gordon or bring back Dez. Or that's the question I'm asking you today as I'm broadcasting live from Parkway Tavern and Grill in Plano, just off the Dallas North Tollway between Parker and Windhaven. And a couple of announcements I want to get out of the way while we're here at Parkway. Number one, so in addition to doing Showtime every day this week except for tomorrow, there's a holiday tomorrow, so I'm not going to be doing the show tomorrow. Mark your calendars, no Showtime tomorrow, but I'm back on Thursday. But then Thursday night, Friday night, so I'll be doing the Showtime on Thursday, and then Thursday night from 8 to 9, we'll be doing Cowboys trivia with prizes out here at Parkway Tavern. So make plans to be here. If you can't during the day, during Showtime, 12 to 1, make plans to be out here at Parkway Tavern and Grill in Plano from 8 to 9 on Thursday or Friday. We're doing Cowboys trivia. I'm sure I'll also bring other things to the table as far as content, but we'll do Cowboys trivia on site. You can win prizes if you are here at Parkway Tavern and Grill. You can play along with the trivia through the chat on Phantom, but to win prizes Thursday and Friday night here for Cowboys trivia, you have to come to Parkway Tavern and Grill. So make plans. Again, starting at 8. I know a lot of people that sent me a message were like, hey, I'm not able to make it out during the day, but what do you do anything in the night? Yeah, we're going to do, again, Thursday and Friday nights this week at Parkway, Cowboys trivia. So come on out to Parkway Tavern. Again, just off the Dallas North Tollway between Parker and Windhaven Roads. All right. Dakota Stiegel says Butler's going to help, plain and simple. Curtis Stark says, I don't think they got Bryce to be a number one receiver, but another option. Sure, and quite frankly, they didn't get that was their deal this offseason. They didn't bring in a guy to be number one. Deacon Ringwood says you don't use ranch with blue cheese with buffalo wings. It's blue cheese. Deacon, I cannot disagree with you anymore. And I am as staunch of a ranch dipper with my wings as, I mean, blue cheese is disgusting. It looks and smells horrible. It's awful. It's terrible. No one likes blue cheese with their wings. Orlando Martinez says, at this point, we need anybody. It doesn't matter. LOL. Elder Philip Daly says, when will Bryce play and be better? And he better not drop a lot of passes. I'm assuming that he'll play this week. I'm assuming he'll be on the active roster this week. The big question is, who are they going to release? There's a chance that Xavier Woods can come back. Does that mean they're going to release, one of their additional safeties? What about Terrence Williams? Will he get released since, he's seen the least amount of snaps in his career the first 2 weeks? Let's see here. On the Phantom page, Joseph Kazano says they played Butler with garbage quarterbacks, but Tony went down with the first shoulder injury. Kerry Teagle says maybe he'll seize the moment this go around, perhaps. Ray Pierce says no, should have brought in new blood. Look, I'm certainly of the belief that Josh Gordon would have been a pretty good addition. He's a really good receiver, but the Cowboys never entertained that as an option. They never had that as an option. So, I certainly understand perhaps bringing other players in, bringing a guy like Bryce Butler in. What can it hurt? I think the issue that the Cowboys have at receiver is going to be an issue. Like it's funny because when the summer began and the Cowboys were talking about not needing a number one receiver, I kind of bought it. But I think as we move towards the preseason and out into the regular season, I don't buy it. Like, where are you going on 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9? I thought Michael Gallup would be that guy. The Cowboys don't know who that guy is, and that's the problem. Is that's part of your identity is where are we going when we have a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and that's what a guy like Dez Bryant brings to the table. That's what a guy like Josh Gordon brings to the table. Even if the team, the opposition, the defense knows it's coming, when you have that number one option, it's you can't stop it. Let's see here. Jonathan Wright says never should have gotten rid of Bryce Butler. John Delarco says exactly, Jonathan. Look, I think perhaps the rationale behind why they let him walk was because they figured he wanted too much money and wanted to cash in. So now they're able to get him for cheaper. Maybe it worked out better that way. Ranch, by the way, Deacon. Trying to eat these buffalo wings as cleanly as I can. Wings are really good here. I recommend the wings at Parkway Tavern and Grill. By the way, when you come out to Parkway Tavern and Grill and you hang out during showtime or any other time, make sure to show them the coupon you got off Phantom, which gets you a free appetizer when you dine in. So come hang out here, have a beer, watch some sports, and get a free appetizer when you dine in. Valued up to $10. So tons of options available to you on the appetizer menu. So make sure to include the coupon, mention Phantom, and you're going to get a free appetizer when you dine in. Tony Sellers says T. Williams is gone. Curtis Stark says what's scary for our future opponents is our defense is going to get better. Travis Adams says bring Dez back. Let's make a run at the Super Bowl. I just don't think it's going to happen. Again, my rationale was why would they bring back a guy that has trashed the organization, which he has. But now they've brought back Bryce Butler, who also trashed the organization. So I guess that doesn't necessarily become an option. Maybe now Dez said more. Maybe Dez said worse things. I just don't know. But I argued they're not going to bring back Dez, even if they should, because he's trashed the organization. Now they brought back Bryce Butler, who trashed the organization. So what do I know? I guess. All right, on the let's check in on some of these pages. On the Law Nation Facebook page, trying to check in over there. Let's see what's going on. on the Law Nation Facebook page. Boom, here we go. My other device is awfully slow, so bear with me, everybody. Hit the share button while I do this, though. That would help. Sharing is caring. I'm Ari Temkin. We're talking Cowboys right here on Phantom, the new world order of sports media. You can catch me on the Dallas Cowboys pre- and post-game show on 105.3 The Fan. Billy Lee on the Law Nation page says, think Dez don't want to play football right now, but in his heart he wants to play for Dallas again. If they brought T.O. in here after what he did, then Dez is an altar boy. It's a fair point. They brought Dez in after he ran to the star with the celebration that had him, had somebody spear him because he was so pissed about it. Billy, I think you're right. I think Dez wants to play. I think he wants to play given the right situation, and I think Dez wants to play for the Cowboys. And maybe that's where some of the vitriol comes from. Maybe that's why he spewed the venom that he spewed, because he's upset because he still wanted to play for the Cowboys. Even if it's the right move, I don't know that the Cowboys would do it, quite frankly. Because maybe they're so stubborn about making it work without Dez because they said that they wanted to do that they're just willing to do it even if it's detrimental. But, I'm just, again, of the belief that you need to have a guy, even if defenses know where you're going, that gets you the 8 or 9 you need on a third down situation. John and Meg says Dez isn't signing anywhere but Dallas. I think Dez had like a few teams on his radar that he wanted to sign with, and that, those haven't happened yet. But I could be wrong. Jesse Garcia says Dez sideline antics did it in for him more than just trash talking the organization. Well, yeah, because the trash talking the organization came after. I don't think it was just the sideline stuff. I think it was a lot of things, quite frankly. But ultimately, I think, so they said with Dak Prescott they wanted a different receiving core that they could spread the ball around with, get a lot of different guys open. That's what they said. Maybe that was just an anti-Dez thing. I'm not really sure. But what's up, man? How are you? Come here. It's Walt Chisholm in the house. What's up, man? But yeah, I don't know if it was like they just didn't want a number one, or it was they didn't want Dez. Because I certainly am curious if. If they just didn't want Dez, right? Like they thought that Dez was too much of a alpha male, that it took away from Dak's leadership. We saw something similar in Seattle with Russell Wilson, where they sort of demolished that great defense because those guys were all alphas, and they didn't allow Russell Wilson to lead the way that he wanted to lead. And so I think there's an argument to be made that Seattle broke down their defense and traded away a lot of their pieces and got rid of them because they wanted this to be Russell Wilson's team that he could lead. And I think there's probably a little bit of Dez in that too, with Dak, insofar as Dez is an alpha. He commands the ear of the locker room. Dez obviously was there before Dak, so Dak is in a position where he's trying to make Dak. Dak's in a position where he's trying to make Dez happy, but at the same time, what he's doing to make Dez happy might not necessarily be what's in the best interest of the offense or the organization. So again, this kind of goes back to: did they really not want a legit number one, or was it that they, just didn't want Dez? But ultimately, it's hard to compile a dominant offense when you don't have a legit number one wideout, and for multiple reasons. Not just the third down piece, but also the piece of, who's going to command double teams, and what does that open for the other guys? Our defenses double teaming Cole Beasley. They're not going to give him the same respect as they'd give a Dez on the outside. So there are a lot of different components there that you need a number one wide receiver for. Travis Adams says thank you for the shout out. Shout out Travis Adams. Dan Dahlgren says there was such a push to feed Dez the ball, he never stayed open, and there were a lot of drops. Yeah, I think that's fair. Gerard Towler says Corey Coleman. Travis Adams says the Cowboys could do it without Dez, but it would be nice to have him back. Yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys could do it without Dez, but what they're attempting to do is do it without a receiving core that's got a legit number one. And they argued this offseason that that's what they wanted, and it just doesn't make any sense. And when if Dak doesn't have a good year, then people say, well, look at the receiving core he had. It's kind of going to be like, well, but that was what they wanted. So why do you get to complain? You don't get to complain about that if that's kind of the receiving core that you wanted. Gabriel Silva on the Law Nation Facebook page says, I don't get it. We don't need any of these players, and all we need is a good offensive line for the Cowboys. Okay. I mean, the offensive line was pretty good this past week. That's probably why they had the success they had on offense. All right, shout out to the Dallas Cowboys Report, broadcasting live across the Dallas Cowboys Report page. If I can type out Dallas and not Salas, then I'll be in better position to see the comments on the Dallas Cowboys Report page. By the way, I'm Ari Temkin. This is Showtime on Phantom, the New World Order of Sports Media, broadcasting live from Parkway Tavern and Grill out here on the Dallas North Tollway between Parker and Windhaven. Walt Chisholm from the Best for Business podcast is in the house. Shout out to him and Best for Business. Jennifer Hankey on the Dallas Cowboys Report page is chiming in. She says, we don't have good receivers. I'm still sad that Witten retired. Wasn't Bryce Butler the one who kicked once our kicker was hurt? Was he? Was Bryce Butler their backup, their emergency kicker? Maybe that's why they're bringing him in, as an emergency kicker. Let's see here. John Delarco says, Cowboy Nation, you all have a beautiful day. Got to get back to the groups. Let's go, Cowboys. What groups are you getting back to, John? Dana Branning says, is there any wide receiver out there that's worth looking at to bring in? What's up, Ari? I'm late, but I'm here. Well, there's Des Bryant. There's Corey Coleman. Off the top of my head, those are the two that I could think of. But look, I think they're adding Bryce Butler. I don't know that they're going to bring back they're not going to bring in anybody else. That's kind of the way that I think about it. I think that's where they're at. They brought in Bryce. I don't think this means now they're going to add another wide receiver. Unless there's an injury or something that happens to one of the other guys. That was kind of the decision they made, that they didn't like the receiving core they had. They wanted to add somebody to it, and so that's the guy. That guy's Bryce Butler. Butler has size and speed. He's 6'3". He's got good speed. He's got all the tangibles, all the pieces to be successful. The question is, why hasn't he? This is the He's been with Oakland. He went from Oakland to the Cowboys. He was at the Cowboys. He was in training camp with Arizona. They cut him. Now he's back at the Cowboys. So he's been with 3 teams. He's never really caught on in a big way with any of these teams. So the question is, why? With all those pieces there, why hasn't he been better? Why hasn't he emerged as a guy that, isn't being found in the scrap heap? Let's see here. Keith Stone says, people talking about Des Bryant drops. Forgot Julio Jones had the same number of drops last year. That's fair. And by the way, I'll add that in addition, Des Bryant scored more touchdowns last year than Julio Jones, and Des Bryant has scored significantly more touchdowns over the last couple of years than Julio Jones. So, Brian Walker says, passing up a 5th-round pick for Gordon. Cowboys should have made that deal. What I know about that situation is that even if Josh Gordon was a free agent, the Cowboys weren't interested. So, the Cowboys were not interested under the premise that Des Bryant was going to be, or rather Josh Gordon was going to be a free agent. So, if they were unwilling to bring in Josh Gordon, if it's in free agency, then they're not going to be willing to trade a 5th-round pick for Josh Gordon. Now, I agree. Again, Josh Gordon's a really good player. Really, really good player. A dynamic wide receiver that the Cowboys don't have on their roster right now. A legitimate number 1. But the Cowboys had no interest in him whatsoever, even if he was available. Now, maybe they should have. But, look, the Browns did as much as they can to keep him around. But it at some point got to a point where it's far too untenable. Tim Hasty says, Bryce had 15 catches last season and 8 of them were on broken plays. ... Trash. All right, I will get into the Seahawks here in a moment. Ray Pierce is commenting on the Seahawks. Kerry Teagle, he should be glad he got cut from Arizona. They're horrible. It's a fair point. Joe Tranchina says, what's the news on Xavier Woods and Randy Gregory for Sunday? We'll know tomorrow a better idea of their situation. The Cowboys are off today. Tuesday's their day off. So, they come in Monday, watch film. There's not really much to talk about. There's no media availabilities. Tuesday's their day off. So they'll come back and start practicing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I'll be at practice tomorrow after this stream. So I'll have a better idea of both of those guys. I would say Randy Gregory will be available to play this week. That's at least what I'm thinking. But there's obviously also it's hard to predict the exact situation with the concussion protocol. Xavier Woods, they said initially that he could be available to play week 2. Obviously, that wasn't the case, so we'll see if he's available to play week 3. I certainly think, though, again, based on the fact that they said initially he was going to be available to play week 2, he'd be available week 3. How about Antonio Brown? Is he available? Antonio Brown was pissed off after the loss this past weekend to Kansas City. He apparently no show to practice yesterday. So I wonder if the Cowboys could trade for Antonio Brown. Is he available? He's the number one they could bring in. Tammy Barthel on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page says, I think we need to bring back Dez Bryant. And what's up with getting rid of the second best kicker? Look, second most accurate kicker. Look, Brett Maher actually kicked pretty well week 2. So it's less of a concern, I would say. If he, if he came in week 2 and missed a couple of field goals or missed an extra point, now we'd be looking at a major issue. But he obviously kicked significantly better week 2 than he did week 1. The Cowboys, they made the decision on Dan Bailey. It was a shocker. Perhaps that they figured that he was no longer going to be the second most accurate kicker in the NFL. I guess we'll see with the Vikings how he does. But if the Cowboys at some point stumble upon kicking issues this season, then most people, rightfully so, will go back on the decision to cut Dan Bailey, and that'll be a major reason for why they're dealing with such significant issues with their kicking situation. Jesse Garcia says Antonio Brown would quit the Cowboys thanks to Linehan. Then they can let Antonio Brown call the plays. Dana Braining says our tight ends need to step it up. My hope is, as Rico gathers, gets more involved in the offense and more active, on game day, that we'll see more of an emergence from the tight ends. But their only playmaker that they have at the tight end position is Rico Gathers. And so, we saw him get open in the end zone this past weekend, and Dak missed him. So, I think he'll continue to emerge, and hopefully more plays will be called for him, and he'll be in on, he'll be in on more. Let's see here. Mentor Thierry says should both be back for week 3. It's going to make our defense much more dangerous. Talking about Xavier Woods. He also says, I honestly think Dez will be back at Dallas. That's his home. That's where he belongs. Yeah, before the season started, Cowboys sold Cowboys fans on, hey, they're fine. They're good. Their offense is going to be better. Addition by subtraction. And as we moved along in the first couple of weeks of the season, it's getting harder and harder to buy. Now, the offense, again, put up enough points to win the football game, but, they have a lot of pieces, but they don't have an emergent number one guy. And, they talked the offseason about that being a detriment, and yet, I don't know. I just, I find that hard to believe. Teams can be successful on offense. Without a number one wide receiver, I just haven't seen it yet from the Cowboys. I haven't seen anything yet from the Cowboys the first 2 weeks offensively that lets me to believe that they, that they can be a high-powered offense without a number one wide receiver. All right, what else we got? Let me check out the Big Game James page. Shout out to Big Game James. Does great work on YouTube and Facebook. Ray Pierce. All right, so I guess Ray, you're right. I should probably transition out talking Seahawks. All right, but continue to give me the thumbs up or the heart emoji asking you, thumbs up, you like the move, adding Bryce Butler back, or heart emoji, they should have added a Josh Gordon or Dez Bryant or somebody else. Jamie Marmolejo says, other than the one long pass, Dak's not very accurate. He's got accuracy concerns for sure. He could be inconsistent with that, his accuracy. All right. So Cowboys and Seahawks on Sunday in Seattle, 3:25 kick for that game. Seattle's 0-2. They lost last night to the Bears. The Bears had 6 sacks on Russell Wilson and a pick 6. The Cowboys remind me a little bit of the Bears. Both have pretty good defenses, really good pass rush, and a good running game. So I see a very similar sort of approach working this week for the Cowboys. Again, I think this is a good opportunity for the Cowboys in their front seven to really get after Russell Wilson. Now he's considerably more athletic than than Eli, but at the same time, Bears sacked him 6 times. So I look for the Cowboys to have a major advantage, obviously, within their pass rush and then their running game. I mean, I think the Cowboys could run away with this thing, especially if their offense can build on what it did last week. So, you watch if you watch Cowboys or rather Seahawks and Bears as a Cowboys fan, there's a lot to be excited about because of how bad the Seattle offensive line is. Jordan Goldschmidt gives me the thumbs down and says, and both will lose to the Chiefs. Well, Jordan, not sure if you remember, but the Cowboys actually beat the Chiefs last year, even though the Chiefs had that Hail Mary during that game. So they're not going to play again for 3 years unless both teams meet in the Super Bowl. But anyways, happy birthday, Jordan. Hope you're doing well, man. I always remember your birthday's the day after my wife's, September 18th. Patrick Prescott in the house, not Dak's brother because he's not a big Dak fan, says, and Earl coming in week 4 after Hawks start 0-3. That's going to be what's funny, right? So Seahawks start 0-3. Some suggest that the Seahawks maybe thought they had a chance to be a playoff team this year, so they didn't want to trade Earl Thomas because he gave them an opportunity to be a playoff team. So if they start 0-3, which it looks like they're going to, then do they unload Earl Thomas? But if you're the Cowboys, what's the price now? I mean, obviously you offered a second. They turned it down instead of 1. So if they come back after 3 weeks and say, hey, we want to do that trade now, if you're the Cowboys, do you say, actually, we'll do it for a 3? I mean, doesn't seem completely inconceivable, right? Dan Dahlgren wants to know if there's any news on Sean Lee's hamstring injury. He returned to the game, Dan, so I think he's fine. If he didn't return to the game, you're probably looking at a much larger concern. But he came back into the game, if you recall, for the second onside kick, so I'm assuming he's fine. Mentor Tyeri says, hell yeah, if we have everybody back and healthy, we have one dangerous defense. Hashtag Hot Boys. How do you guys feel about the Hot Boys nickname, by the way? I know it's like very polarizing. It's very polarizing, especially the media. I talked to a lot of people in the Dallas media, and some like completely hate it. Some like it. I don't know. I think it's I like it. I think it's odd to say, but it works well with the music. Just sounds weird calling the Cowboys Hot Boys. At least it does to me. All right, what else we got? On the Phantom page, Seattle having little time to recoup is at an advantage on our end. Kerry Tickle says, I like it. Ryan England says, Damian Wilson gets my Player of the Week award. Talking about David Wilson was your Player of the Week last week. What about Tavon? Tavon Austin had 2 receptions and 1 carry, 94 total all-purpose yards and a touchdown. I'm trying to think of I believe Tavon was our Player of the Week as well on the post-game show. Dan Dahlgren says, okay, I guess I missed that. Yeah. So Sean Lee came back into the game. I'd not be concerned at all about that hamstring. Dakota Stiegel says, 3rd-round pick, a trade for Earl. Neil Favre says, now they could trade him to us, but we determine the pick after we play Seattle, of course. Yeah, I agree. At this point, if, let's say the Cowboys beat Seattle on Sunday, and then you're the Cowboys, or Seattle then picks up the phone and is like, hey, we'll do that trade now. We'll take your second. The Cowboys are like, actually, let's do a 3rd. It's the toll you have to pay for waiting 3 weeks for us to get him. And I hate to say, like, well, their defense looks at a point right now where they don't need Earl Thomas because, like, that's just not how you build a football team, right? Like, you've got to project out where your inconsistencies could come from, and I certainly am not completely comfortable with their safety position. But I think they also, like, the question I had about this team before the season started was, will they regret, not doing more in the draft and free agency to address their needs at safety? And I think the returns after 2 weeks are no, because their front seven is so good and their corners are so good that it's not really having much of an impact to the safety position. At any rate, I think if you have a chance to add Earl Thomas to this team for a third-round pick, you do it. Again, I was willing to go to a second-round pick before the season started, but I think now, if you're the Cowboys, you could probably wait this thing out and take that approach as opposed to giving up a third-round or a second-round pick. I would give up a third-round pick, though, for Earl Thomas. I absolutely would. He's that good. And even though, again, it doesn't look like he's that necessary for this team right now, he's still a dynamic playmaker. Come on over here, Walt. Come on. You can come on the show, man. Let's get Walt Chisholm in the house. I don't have a microphone for you, so maybe I could just translate whatever you say to the microphone. This is Walt Chisholm for the Best for Business. You also have the NWO logo. We don't use the logo, but we're the New World Order of sports media. I like that. So what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Came out here to enjoy the show and
appreciate that. Thank you.
Check it out. I hear nothing but good things about you. Good things.
Why? Who says that?
Me and the General Gavin Dawson are pretty tight.
Nice.
Pretty good. We go back a long way. Matter of fact, he's the reason why I'm here today.
Oh, nice.
So I hear nothing but good things. When I asked, I was like, "Who's Ari?" They were like, "Oh man, he used to was it San Antonio?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, he was good down in San Antonio.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
Doing the post game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, Gavin's the best, dude. Gavin's awesome.
I heard you on with Sean and RJ a couple more. I was like,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Not bad.
I mean, to replace Sean Sharif ain't too hard of a deal. I love Sean. Sean's one of the greatest human beings alive. Sean Sharif.
Yeah, I agree. So is Gavin Dawson. Gavin Dawson, one of the great human beings alive, too. All right, so I guess people in the comments, can you hear Walt? I didn't bring my second mic in, so yeah, that's the question. Can you hear him?
I hear somebody saying, I saw somebody say, "What's up, Walt?"
Kerry Teagle. Will Baldwin still be out Sunday? That's a good question. Doug Baldwin. I don't know. That's a good question because obviously the receiving core is not the same without him. Tyler Lockett's pretty good, but the receiving core is not the same without Doug Baldwin. And they're saying no, they can't. Oh. Joe Tranchini can hear him. Joe Tranchini can hear you all the way from Sicily. So here we go. We'll just lean in. We'll do that.
What's that? You say Sicily?
Sicily, Italy.
Sicily? Oh.
I know. It's crazy.
We're real big in the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah. When you go back and check the numbers, the Philippines, we were real big in the Philippines. That's pretty amazing.
All right, everybody check out Walt. Walt Chisholm, the Best for Business podcast. Check out Best for Business.
Every Monday and Thursday night. Oh, and Sunday we go live from the Maverick Bar.
Nice.
Over in Plano. It's Mike Fisher's bar.
Absolutely. All right, man.
Every Cowboy game we go live. Ari's the competition, which is a shock why I'm here.
Well, I appreciate you coming to hang out, man. Walt Chisholm in the house for the Best for Business podcast. I'm Ari Temkin. We're broadcasting live from the Parkway Tavern and Grill. And we're in Plano, out in between Parker and the tollway between Parker and what's the Haven? Windhaven? Windhaven. Between Parker and Windhaven. So again, come on out. You get a free appetizer if you come out and mention Phantom. So make sure to come out and get your free appetizer when you dine in, up to $10 value. So take advantage of that. Make sure to mention Phantom here at the Parkway Tavern and Grill. Patrick Prescott says, "Yeah, I live in Seattle. Baldwin is out." How long is he out for? Because obviously that's significant for their offense. I mean, you take a number one receiver out of the equation, all of a sudden it has a domino effect on the rest of the team. And, I certainly think the Cowboys' offense looked considerably better week 2, obviously, than it did week 1, but they left some points on the board. They didn't finish drives. And, again, let's see week 3 if it gets better, especially against the Seattle defense. That's not great. It's not Legion of Boom. So, that'll be certainly something that I'll be looking forward to week 3. But, until the Cowboys prove otherwise, which is consistency on offense, until they prove otherwise, I think the addition of a number one receiver is going to stunt their potential on offense the entire season. I don't think there's any question about that. All right, on the Phantom page, Ray Pierce says Windhaven. Thank you.
Windhaven is right behind us.
Windhaven is right behind us. So, So, Ray, why aren't you out here, man? You know where this area is. Come on out. All right, Parkway Tavern and Grill between Parker and Windhaven off of the tollway. Kerry wants to know what your 3 keys are to winning the game against Seattle.
First off, the Cowboys got to start running the ball again.
Cowboys have to run the ball again.
We got to go back to Tavon Austin. That works.
Tavon Austin.
Let's turn Dak loose.
Turn Dak loose.
Defense is just fine. Defense is just fine. You have to worry about nothing with the defense.
So you're saying turn Dak loose, you mean get the ball down the field?
Yeah, let's do it. We proved he can do it once. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I agree. Get Zeke more involved.
They got to stop. They keep going and then they stop with that. And they never go back to it.
Well, so here's my thing on it. So they had 17 carries last week for Zeke, and they had 5 receptions for him, but 3 of those 5 were on third down screen passes, which are throwaways. Like, I think 17 to 20 carries is fine so long as he's getting 10 to 15 receptions are there, and not third down receptions. They need early down receptions for him because that's, again, it's less wear and tear. Throwing the ball to a running back on first down is the most productive play in the NFL, statistically speaking. So, in addition to that, there's a greater wear and tear on the body when you run the ball versus when you're catching the ball. So, I think they could take some of the production away from running and add that to the passing game, but it doesn't seem like they're really willing to, give Zeke those opportunities on early down situations as a pass catcher. So, if they're not going to do that, then give him 25 to 30 carries.
So that is a very good point because when you're when your general manager comes out and says that, well, the quarterback doesn't need a star receiver, you kind of got to get the running back the ball more.
Yeah.
Right,
because that was what Walt is saying is, if you come out and say we don't need a number one wide receiver, then you've got to get, your star the ball more. And that was my argument this offseason for, hey, they'll be fine without a number one because Zeke will be their number one. That Zeke Elliott can be their number one. He's the guy that week after week after week teams are going to have to game plan for and account for. But they just aren't utilizing him that way. They're sort of separating him from the passing game unless it's a third and long situation, which, again, passing to your running back on first down is the most productive play in the NFL. Passing to your running back on third down is the least productive play in the NFL. But that's where the Cowboys are at. They're not willing to get him involved in the passing game. Early down situations, which tend to be, statistically speaking, the most productive play, they're more willing to get him involved in the passing game on third down situations, which, again, are the least productive play in the passing game.
I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, too. You don't need a star receiver. Tell that to Minnesota last week when they needed a star receiver to come up and win that game last week. I mean, they didn't win, but you need somebody to make plays, which it drives me wild. Didn't they go sign Bryce Butler?
Yeah, they just signed Bryce Butler. That's what we've been talking about a lot today.
What is he supposed to do? Please. I need somebody to explain to me what Bryce Butler is supposed to do. I know that everybody's like, well, Dak was able to get him the ball last year, but that was predicated off a good running game, though. I was explaining the other night on my show that the reason why the running game was so successful that year was because you had a receiver that, in Dez, everybody, says Dez this, Dez that, but Dez accounted for, you had to account for Dez on the field, which you had to get a dose,
right,
which allowed the running back to get kind of loose at times.
Yes.
Do what he needed to do, but
yes.
you don't have that.
Right.
And then you came out on public, we're going to run the ball with Zeke a lot this year. Well, everybody knows what you're getting ready to do, so it kind of.
Well, and even if they didn't say it, it was obvious they're not adding a number one wide receiver, and So it ultimately, I agree. I mean, you need a guy that teams are going to game plan for defensively, that they have to bring, shade coverage over to, that opens up running lanes, that opens up opportunities for the running game. I agree wholeheartedly. And I also think, again, where are you going on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9? What's your bread and butter play? They don't have one of those. So, I think those are all really, really good points when trying to figure out what the Cowboys' offense, why it's stagnant, why it only put up, 20 – was it 20? It was 20 points. They won 20 to 13. Is that what it was?
What was that? The first week they scored 8 points.
Yes.
And then they scored 20 points. Now, I know everybody's excited about the win, but I want to let everybody know the Giants got to bail the Cowboys out because the Giants are a bad team.
Yes.
And they still should have scored more
yes.
points. And they didn't take them, to the 4th quarter to score again?
Yeah, they left some points on the board. They basically had 10 points in the first half, and then they got that fumble recovery in the red zone, which only led to 3 points. So, yeah, they're –
now, on plays like that, that's where you got to score. And they didn't even score on that.
Yep.
They only got 3 points out of it.
Let's see here. Mark Rawson says Butler's problem was Dez. Yeah, but wasn't Dez injured a couple of years ago, and then Butler came in and really didn't do much to emerge?
I asked, who was that? Who said that?
This is –
Who about the Dez comment?
This is on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page. Mark Rawson.
Mark, I want to ask you a question. Who led the team in touchdown receptions last year? Tell me that question. You don't know who it was. It was Dez Bryant. And he led it with that quarterback.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Joseph Casano says Bryce is another weapon that will concern opposing defenses. Think positive, gentlemen.
I can't think positive when you don't have a star receiver out there. I'm sorry. The defense, I've said on my show plenty of times. The defense, we got nothing to worry about there. Defense is going to be fine.
Yes.
However, offense, I've been scared ever since they didn't sign another receiver.
Yes. And look, I think, the Cowboys have to show on film that teams have to be afraid of a guy like Bryce Butler. I think –
Joseph, don't you do that. He said Rico dropped a few catches. Hey, listen, Dak had Rico wide open in the end zone, and he missed him. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, and Tony Sellers says Deontay Thompson looked fire. Look, I'll say this. Deontay seems to be Dak's favorite weapon option so far. So if we're looking for who could be their number one, maybe that's Deontay Thompson, and he's a guy that has great speed that can get open downfield. They haven't used him as much there, but that's certainly a role for him. But bottom line here is the Cowboys offensively have to show on film certain things that defenses have to be afraid of and account for. I'm Ari Temkin. This is Walt Chisholm. This is Showtime live from Parkway Tavern and Grill. This is it for the show today. Appreciate everybody coming out and watching this, streaming this. If you are in the area, make sure to come on out to Parkway Tavern and Grill. Mention Phantom, and you're going to get a free appetizer when you dine in, up to $10 value. So make sure to mention Phantom. Also, I will be out here. No show tomorrow. But then I'll be out here Thursday and Friday, both 12 to 1 and 8 to 9, and we'll be doing Cowboys trivia Thursday and Friday, 8 to 9, right here on Phantom. But you have to. We're going to have prizes. But if you want to win a prize, you have to come out of here. So make plans to be out with us. Parkway Tavern and Grill Thursday and Friday, either 12 to 1 during showtime or from 8 to 9 p.m., both Thursday and Friday. So 2 shows from Parkway right here Thursday and Friday. Thank you to Joe Tranchina, G. Garcia, Ryan England, Ray Pierce, Eric Koshaney, Jesse Garcia, Joseph Casano, Dana Braining, Sean Moore, Kerry Teagle, Keith Stone, all the folks, the Ariolas or the Showtimers, depending on which one you want to use, that join this show and stream it. Mark Rawson every single day, Dusty Brandon. I couldn't do it without you folks, so thank you for being a part of the show each and every day. But for now, I'm out. Peace.